Hello, everybody on YouTube. It's been quite a while since the last time I've done this, but welcome back to the channel, and we're back for some more NR 2003 offline action. And this is actually the second race ever for the brand new NR 2003 League Group, the International Racing Series Association, or IRSA, as I call it, and we're here for the Hollywood Casino 400 at Kansas Speedway as we're getting set for 118 laps at my favorite track in NR for some reason, mostly down to the fact that we see a lot of great racing here. But I am not alone, of course. You know me, I'm Levi McIntyre, also known as the voice of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series, here to welcome you to the Hollywood Casino 400 at Kansas. We got a 40-car field. The mod we're using is the Cup 2005 S&G mod because it's new and something old school for some old school people. And I'm going to be curious to see how this mod races offline-wise compared to other mods that I've used in the past. But as I said, I am not alone. I am joined by a good pal of mine, the man who could be mistaken for Tony Stewart by his voice. Please welcome Kyle Matthews.
Speaking of old school.
Exactly. So glad to have you on board with us, Kyle. I can't even remember the last time that we've had you on the commentary booth for anything I've done.
Boy, it's been a Marvel Studios Cup race. I know that. I forget which one. But...
Yeah, and then, of course, the last time you was brought up by another co-commentator would have been the infamous Denver race where Dylan Jacobs, a.k.a. Kamikaze Games, in his Kermity Frog voice, called you Kyle Benjamin.
Yeah, I mean, I've been called a lot worse in my life, so, I mean, I'll take it.
And not to mention, you told me prior to us recording, as I'm actually going to go into options to fix something I completely forgot to, so professionalism around here. We're a professional bunch.
What's that? What's professionalism?
Something you stick up your ass. I don't know. but you told me prior to...
I don't use it.
You told me prior to recording that you played as Kyle Benjamin in your career mode on NASCAR Heat 4 and got the championship because of that.
Yeah, I took his ride for my second season truck series. I thought, what the hell? It's a 5-star team, and just for shits and giggles, we'll take Kyle Benjamin's ride. Yeah, so, Kamikaze, you inspired that move, so thank you.
Yeah, so Kamikaze, you will never let that down. You can't let it out of your head. But all comedy aside, so yes, Kansas Speedway, like I said, it's probably this version of Kansas that we're using, which is the 2012 version, is actually probably my favorite track in all of NR 2003 offline-wise, because for some reason we get constant passing up at the front of the field, great racing. You could be at the very back of the field, and within 6 laps, you're up in the lead. It's virtually what I would call a self-cleaning track. Like, if you can get the bottom lane to work, you're able to go straight up to the front. But nonetheless, and also you can tell by lap times that it's a fast version of Kansas, so they're going to be going over 200 miles an hour in this race. But before we talk about who to watch for in this race, we're actually going to go through the starting lineup. So starting in the front row, we have Elijah Gordon and starting on the pole, and then starting next to him is DJ Curtis. Row 2, we have Rob Evans and Kev Shearer. Row 3, we have Jack Hollick and Cole Deaver. Row 4, we got Keyshawn Richardson and Zach Rogers. Row 5, we have Andrew Miller, Seth Cole. Row 6, we have Dylan Farrell and Carter Friesen. Row 7, Carson Gum, or as I used to call him, Carson Scum, and John Andrews. Row 8, we have Dylan Young, William Brock. Row 9, the friendly rivalry of Dylan Jacobs and Rafael Leduc continues, even in IRSA. And then row 10, we have Matt Haas and Braden Caruthers. Row 11, we have Ashland Boyd, Keith Miller. I believe that's Keith Miller. Double check. Yes, it is Keith Miller, because it's been a while since I've studied the names for this race. Again, I'm a professional. Row 12, we have Zachary Fitzwater, Jay Jefferson. Row 13, we have Jesse Turner, Cole Baker. Row 14, Vince Lewis and Arthur Xavier. Row 15, we have Phil Parker, Jackson Traeger. Row 16, we have Jackson Sammy, Zach Winkle. Row 17, Christopher Chagoy and Paul Jackson. Row 18, we have James Qualls, Benjamin Miles. Row 19, Brad Cheston, who I recall won the Daytona race last month. And starting next to him, Jordan Forbes. And then starting in the final row, row 20, we have Caleb Kilburn and Johnny Gardner. So luckily, doesn't matter, especially with this track somehow. Doesn't matter where you start. It's all about where you finish. And you could find yourself dead last on the first lap and get to the lead within a few laps because of how grippy this track is and how active it is. But
sounds like a restrictor. Sounds like a restrictor plate track by that method.
I mean, speed-wise, on straightaways, yes, but in the corners they still do have to let out of the gas to make runs. So not quite a restrictor plate track, but this would be the kind of racing at Kansas I would love to see every time they go there, but I'm not going to go further into it. Otherwise, we'll be here for an hour extra. But before we get the command, let's talk about predictions for this race based on drivers that we know or see on the list that could break out or continue their legacies. For me, drivers that I see in this field that have been good in the past at this track, guys like Seth Cole and Cole Deaver and DJ Curtis in particular, those are going to be guys I'm going to have my eye out for. But if I had to pick one guy who I could see get the win here, I'm actually going to go with a bit of a sleeper pick. That car in the 25th position, Jesse Turner, because he's a newcomer to this channel in our 2003 Wise. I know he's a veteran among other leagues out there, but I want to say this is either the first or second race that he's run in IRSA. I believe he's been in other series in the past, maybe like the Walking Dead series back in the day or something, I can't remember. But I'm actually going to go with him as a sleeper pick for this race. But Kyle, any thoughts on some of these drivers and who you could see potentially going to victory lane?
Oh man, the way you described how this race will probably go, anybody's got a chance. Even if you start, in the back, you can go from the back to the front, and vice versa. I think really, I don't think anybody really stands out. It seems like it's anybody's race. So I'm gonna go with somebody I usually pick a lot just because I'm a good friend, because he's a good friend of mine. But I'm gonna go with Kev Shearer in the 00 to win this race, just for the hell of it.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to have some work to do because the outside lane isn't the best line to use at this track, so he's going to have to work hard to try and get to the bottom and make moves. But maybe we'll see the outside lane prevail this time around with a different mod. We'll see what happens. But anyways, without further ado, let's get the command to fire engines for the Hollywood Casino 400 at Kansas.
Is this on? Drivers, start your engines.
All 40 drivers rolling on the racetrack for their one pace lap before we take the green flag. The other thing I really love about this racetrack is I know real life racing, paved tracks or repaved tracks may not be the best idea depending on the track itself, but I do love the visual aspect of this racetrack, and that's why I chose this version of Kansas. Plus, we always get great racing in any mod for the most part. Gonna be curious to see with this mod if we get a similar result to what we usually get with the Gen 6 mod, so to speak. But the pace car and the rest of the cars coming through turns 3 and 4, and the pace car going to be pulling into pit road any moment. There he goes. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. Time to boogity, 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 go racing. Well, Elijah Gordon got to lead the first lap of the race here. Although he's got some company coming behind Andrew Miller in the 31, but look at 3 wide Dylan Farrell in the 91, making it 3 wide for the race lead.
Well, I love the paint scheme on that 91, that Bill Elliott Stanley Tools Dodge Charger. That's going to lead the second lap. Here's 45. I believe that's Carson Gum.
Absolutely, it is Carson Gum.
He's going to try to go for the lead in the Kyle Petty Dodge there.
But look who's coming in hot. Look who's coming in hot. That 32 Tide Pontiac of Carter Friesen. Although, man, Zachary Fitzwater really tried to get his nose underneath there, but just couldn't quite get there in time. So he's going to stay back in third for now. But now using the apron, although he had to get out of the gas a little bit when making the transition from the apron back to the racing surface, and actually lost a bit of time, giving the lead to Carter Friesen. But now Phil Parker in the 8 car is going to make a run for it.
Boy, Parker got a good run on the entry there, and he's going to take the lead. Looks like the 5 car is going to follow through to second spot.
Yeah, Christopher Chagoy now up to second, as Zachary Fitzwater still working to get around Carter Friesen for position, and he finally does get by him. DJ Curtis, who started second, who fell back quite a bit so far in the early going, but now back into the top 5 as Chagoy now takes the front position. But man, yeah, every lap so far we've had a lead change at the line. But now Chagoy actually going to have a bit of a gap between himself and second place. DJ Curtis.
Yeah, I think they were 3 wide for second. That's what allowed the 5 car to jump out to the lead that he has. But now they're starting to reel him in here as DJ Curtis has gone to second.
Jackson Sammy in the Net Zero number 0 Pontiac up here trying to get to the second position. He's got to run to the inside, and unlike Fitzwater, he did not get off the gas. Coming back onto the racing surface, which is going to help him get the spot for now, but Jack Hollick in the 38 M&M's Ford now going to try and take second. The 20 car of Keith Miller, who started around mid-pack, now up into the top 3.
Our pole sitter getting back into the picture here, the 44 of Elijah Gordon.
Andrew Miller, who was close to the front early on, now he's making a comeback for it. Matt Haas in the number 1 Bass Pro Shop Chevy now found himself into the top 10. Wow, nearly contact 3 wide between Brad Cheston, Zachary Fitzwater, and Seth Cole. Seth Cole made an aggressive move going to the very bottom of the track, and it's going to pay off as he's now into the top 10 and 9th. Meanwhile, Christopher Chagoy still leading the race with his teammate for the race, at least this time around, Elijah Gordon, right behind him on his tail.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised to see the 5 car lead so many consecutive laps. I mean, we've had lead changes left and right here since the start of this thing, but looks like everybody battling for second behind him, and that's allowed him to keep the lead so far.
Well, look at the run Andrew Miller has got. Holy cow, he came in flying in there, and now he's going to get a run to the bottom underneath Chagoy. Can he get to the lead at the line? Doesn't look like it. He'll probably get him in turn 1, though. Andrew Miller in the 31 Singular Wireless Chevy now takes the lead for himself.
They're 3 wide for second.
Yeah, Miller's teammate for the race, Zachary Fitzwater, in the 29 now takes second. So currently we got a 1-2 for the Richard Childress cars. There is a third RCR car in this race, the 07. Let's see where he is, and I forget who's in the 07. There he is, Cole Baker, who's still around mid-pack. And actually another one, and that's Braden Caruthers in the 30. So you got 4 RCR cars in this race, and 2 of them up front, 2 of them around mid-pack. Back up at the front, it is still Andrew Miller up in the lead. But yeah, I noticed a couple of cars really, really slow as you see Johnny Gardner, who's only going... Let's watch his speeds. He's accelerating fairly well. He's going upwards of 196, but slowing down in the corners down to about 166, and the caution is out. Oh, we got a big wreck. The 99 of Jordan Forbes and Jackson Sammy, John Andrews, Paul Jackson. Look at the damage the 24 has. The hood is crumpled up. James Qualls. Arthur Xavier.
Caught up in this thing, too.
Jackson Traeger, Cole Baker, Jay Jefferson, Raphael LeDuc with major damage, and Elijah Gordon, the pole sitter, was in it.
We were just looking at Johnny Gardner. This is going to help him out a ton, but my God, what happened here? We saw the 0 car. He was up in the top 10, I believe, when this thing happened. So it looks like a wreck at the front of the field has caught up a lot of drivers.
Yeah, that's about, I want to guess, about a fifth of the field, maybe more, maybe a quarter of the field taken out in this wreck. And, man, ton of cars with major, major damage. As we're going to go to our pit lane camera to see who's going to come out of pit road with the race lead. I was going to bring up earlier that perhaps we could see pit strategy in this race because of the fact that it's set to ×2 wear and it's 118 laps. James Qualls, who's already in pit road, that won't matter, but looks like not much is going to change. Looks like Andrew Miller going to keep the race lead for the time being. But, man, we had perhaps a crazy accident somewhere in turns 3 and 4, maybe even on the backstretch, as we're going to take a break and look at the replay to find out what brought the caution out for the first time today here at the Hollywood Casino 400 at Kansas. Well, after that caution, we got about 8 or 9 cars out of the race, and they include John Andrews, Paul Jackson, I believe in the 48, Elijah Gordon, Jackson Traeger, Jordan Forbes, Cole Baker, the 01, who I'm trying to look at, Arthur Xavier, Jay Jefferson, and Raphael LeDuc. 2 cars a lap down, and they are Cole Deaver and James Qualls, so they're going to be ones to watch for if they're going to be slow or not. But we got 29 cars on the lead lap, but we're probably only going to get through the top 10 for this running order. Andrew Miller is the race leader. Second is Zachary Fitzwater. Third is Phil Parker. Fourth, Jack Hollick. Fifth, Benjamin Miles. Sixth is Keith Miller. Seventh, Keshawn Richardson. Eighth, Johnny Gardner. Ninth, Matt Haas. 10th, Brad Cheston. 11th, Chris Chagoy. 12th, William Brock. 13th, Braden Caruthers. 14th is Dylan Young. 15th, Dylan Jacobs. 16th, Seth Cole. 17th, Kev Shearer. 18th, Carter Friesen. 19th, Caleb Kilburn. 20th, Ashlyn Boyd. Pace car in the pit road. We're going to get back to racing on lap 18 of 118. So 100 laps left. We're back underway, and it looks like for sure the 15 and the 25 are very, very slow. 0 is also slow. The 10 and the 42 doesn't appear that they're going to be too slow. So I think they may be okay, although they are starting to lose ground because they're not in a Well, actually, no, they are actually gaining ground. They're making passes, so the 42 and the 10 are relatively okay.
The 11 just came to pit road. Johnny, that's what stacked everybody up there.
Yeah, Johnny Gardner now on pit road. I don't know if this could be a strategy call or they didn't get enough fuel in their car or in the
changing
tank.
all 4 tires. We
Back
saw
up
him
at the
way
front.
off the pace.
Yeah, he did fall quite a ways back, but Phil Parker led the lap that time. But here comes Zachary Fitzwater with a run to the front. New contenders, Keyshawn Richardson in the 97, though, got passed on the bottom. But Jack Hollick now going to get to the race lead. But Benjamin Miles in probably my favorite Casey Kane scheme of all time. Now up to second.
That reverse pit cap. Casey ran that at the Brickyard in 2005 and a couple of other races.
Not to mention easy to paint.
Yeah.
But Benjamin Miles currently in second as we're looking around for any other battles going on. Andrew Miller, huge dive into the corner to try and take a position away from Keith Miller. The Millers, ladies and gentlemen. We're the Millers. We are the Millers, the movie. I thought we were going to see 3 wide going into turn 1 for the lead, but Benjamin Miles now going to take the position. There's Johnny Gardner as he, yes, is now a lap down. There's Qualls, Deaver, and Sammy, who are very slow on the track, but the 42 and the 10 still keeping up relatively well. Even the 10 with a slight buckle on the front end, he's still running at full speed, which is impressive.
Yeah, the 91 also got damaged in that wreck, and it's like he's still up to speed pretty well as Benjamin Miles has gone to the lead.
And now Zachary Fitzwater takes the lead back.
I'm sorry.
And now Jack Hollick in the 38 trying to get the lead again. He's going to get it right here at the line, going to the apron to try and get more speed. But here comes the one of Matt Haas, who's, if I recall, I believe he started towards the back of the field. Now he's up here in the top 3, but he's probably going to lose some spots because he's stuck on the outside. Teammates battling for what looks like the 5th position, maybe 4th, between Fitzwater and Andrew Miller, and it was for 5th. Rob Evans, who we haven't talked about really at all so far in this race, he's now got a huge run going. Same with the 41 of Dylan Jacobs. Wow, the 29 almost got down into the 41, but saw he was there and let him go. But look at DJ Curtis in the 17 trying to make a move to get around Fitzwater, and that would be for the 8th position he would take. Braden.
Well, a lot of RCR cars up here. You got the 31, the 30, and the 29.
Yeah, the only RCR car missing is Cole Baker, who's unfortunately done for today after getting caught up in the first caution. But the rest of the RCR cars running really well so far, as Braden Caruthers trying to make a stride to get up to the front, as now Matt Haas takes the lead from Benjamin Miles that time. But look at the run Rob Evans. It's like Rob Evans and Dylan Jacobs might have a plan going right now, as they've been kind of pretty much close together so far this second run into the race. But Rob Evans,
I don't know if they qualified around each other or not, but they're making up ground as Evans will take the lead. And look at the run that Jacobs is going to get. He's going to follow him right on through to second.
it looked like he thought about making a pass for the lead, but decided not to just yet. Although he's leaving the bottom open for Phil Parker to get position. Wow, nearly contact. 41 tried to block the 8, but noticed he was there and then let him by. DJ Curtis on the apron to try and get to second, as Rob Evans still maintains the race lead for the time being. Braden Caruthers in the 30 trying to get to the front as well. And now he's got the run on the bottom. He probably won't lead the lap this time, but probably will the next time by, although now they're catching lap traffic. The slow cars are going to be in the way.
Cole Deaver and James Qualls. This was my concern from that wreck. I mean, yeah, it knocked out a good number of cars, but there were still some cars that were involved in that wreck that did not return. And they were going to be slowing off the pace. You see the 0 with the missing back bumper.
And now because of that,
these guys.
And because of that, now DJ Curtis gets to the race lead, and they're also going to catch Johnny Gardner, but Gardner is actually up to speed. He's just not in the pack to get that extra speed. And now look at the run Ashland Boyd's getting in the 18. We haven't talked about him so far. Now he takes the race lead in that number 18 Interstate Batteries car, but Gardner back in pit road again.
And a lot of issues with that 11 car. Don't know what's going on. It's a shame to see. We thought, even him starting in the back, you might, he'd still have a shot at this thing. But again, another tire change.
I don't know if there's maybe a suspension issue or a mechanical issue that's not been fixed or what, but yeah, that's the second time he's come into pit road so far this green flag run.
It's a shame to see that 11 car that, of course, that was the late Jason Leffler's ride from 2005. I was hoping that would have a good run today.
Yeah. If I were to maybe make an assumption, I'm going to assume that there's perhaps a suspension problem. Maybe even a rear end problem. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, something's wrong with that 11 car. But back up at the front, we got Fords galore up here at the front. Both Yates cars and a Roush car. Rob Evans gets the lead back, and right behind him, Jack Hollick in the 38. But Benjamin Miles, he ain't giving up easily. He's trying to get back up to the lead. Hollick still trying to run the bottom to take the spot, and it looks like he's going to get it for now. But Braden Caruthers trying to get back up there again. DJ Curtis trying to follow both lanes to get a little slipstream off of their back bumpers in order to get some extra speed going forward, and now he gets to second. Dylan Jacobs trying to make a comeback run to get back up to the front, but here in about 4 to 5 laps, we're going to take our first of two 2.5-minute commercial breaks to kind of give our voices a bit of a rest for the rest of this race. But right now, we got a nice battle going on up here at the front. The 30 of Braden Caruthers leads with DJ Curtis in second, Dylan Jacobs third, Brad Cheston, who, if I can remember, I think won the Daytona race last month, and then Jack Hollick in the 5th position. It's going to be 3 wide, and Dylan Jacobs in the middle of a Roush sandwich as Brad Cheston goes to second. I know for Dylan Jacobs being a Roush fan, that's a sandwich he wouldn't mind being a part of, but he's not in a Roush car for this race.
No, he went with the Casey Mears car, which is his favorite driver. So either way, it's looking good for him.
But the Roush Brigade, 2 of the 5 Roush cars in the race, 4 that are still on track, are trying to work their way up here. As you see, the 17, the 16, and the 97 of Kayshawn Richardson. The 4th one that's still left, there's Caleb Kilburn. Still in the top 20, so not too bad, with Jordan Forbes being out of the race, being the 5th one.
So one team that really took a hit in that first caution was Hendrick Motorsports. I think there's only maybe just one Hendrick car left in contention for this thing. I think James Qualls is the other one. He's still out on track, but he's a lap down. So they lost a lot.
Maybe another lap down on top of that, but next time by, we come to the line where we'll be taking our first commercial break, which will feature commercials from yours truly and from Dylan Jacobs, or Kamikaze Games, as more people would know him as. So be prepared for some funniness, but don't worry, action will still be shown on the bottom of the screen, as we're going to be right back. We'll be back in 2.5 minutes, but stick around, the race will be on the bottom. Commercial break here at the Hollywood Casino 400. at Kansas. You know what I like to have every morning? A nice sandwich with some Clover Valley creamy peanut butter. But you know what else I want to do with this? I want to dip my balls in it! Clover Valley peanut butter. Good for food, even better for sex.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's Jif peanut butter. A rich and creamy spread that's good for any kind of food. Oh yeah, you spread it on that toast. Yeah, you spread it. You spread it, you bitch. Yep, you can never go wrong with some good Jif peanut butter.
You are aware it's pronounced Jif, right?
Oh no, silly. This is a Jif.
Jif peanut butter. Traffic's interchange format.
Go ahead. Indulge yourself with the finest food mankind ever created. After all, you deserve it after a long, hard day at work having to piddle around with a bunch of dumb fucking idiots on a golf course. So yes, eat away your pain.
Where's the pizza?
Every year, thousands of doors are abused by their owners, who can't seem to get over menial bullshit. These doors are used and abused, and they have no one to turn to for help. Until now. You can become a first-time donor to the Door Incorporated Door Rights Association. If you're sick and tired of seeing doors being abused like this, then you finally have the chance to give back and say thank you to doors around the world. Call 866-DOOR Inc. to find out more.
We're Door Incorporated. We only sell doors. What the fuck has my life come to?
Welcome back to the Hollywood Casino 400 at Kansas Speedway. As you can see, or as you have seen, we are now having green flag pit stops for the first time this race, so pretty much by calculation, it looks like these drivers can make it nearly 30 laps per fuel run, so it looks like they'll have to pit probably 2 more times before the end of the race, so it's going to be interesting to see about fuel strategy for this race, no doubt about it, but yeah, we saw a little bit of a bump and run, kind of, from Dylan Jacobs on Braden Caruthers to get the lead at one point a few laps ago, but now Rob Evans, at least perhaps still going to be the race leader, as he came out of the pits first of that big group of cars. But they still got one slow car to put up with, and that's Jackson Sammy in the 0.
And he pitted with a lot of leaders that we just saw. I believe Rob Evans was right behind him. And they came down the pit road, so he's right there with.
But now Braden Caruthers trying to get around him. Johnny Gardner, who's still 2 laps down, who's, I guess, maybe got the issue perhaps fixed for now, looking to maybe try and get one of those laps back, as he's got a run underneath the 30, so that should put Johnny Gardner, at least for now, back to just being 1 lap down. So if we were to get another caution, then Johnny could catch a lucky break and be on the inside line on the restart, and then if he were to get by the leader and then the caution comes out again, he'd be back on the lead lap. But right now, not looking good, as now new leader Brad Cheston puts him back to 2 laps down.
And this race just has a long green flag look to it. I mean, we've been on one ever since that first caution came out. It took out a lot of good cars. So who knows how many more cautions we're going to get, if any.
Yeah. As I've also stated in the past, Kansas City or Kansas City, Kansas Speedway, the version that I have and when we've run here, we've rarely had cautions for anything over the last couple of years at this track. So, yeah, that first caution was definitely kind of a rare treat, so to speak. I don't know if I'd call it a treat, but it's a rare thing.
A caution and a big wreck at that. So,
but nonetheless,
right now we're in a...
yeah, we got a bit of a hornet's nest up here at the front. As now Carson Gum takes the lead in that 45 brawny Dodge Charger.
It's a good-looking car. I always liked that scheme Kyle Petty had back in 2005. And boy, the green flag pit stops, it really broke up the pack. We had a pretty good pack running for the lead there. It's really split the field up now, as green flag pit stops usually do.
And now Brad Cheston gets the lead back as they approach Cole Deaver again, putting him another lap down. Johnny Gardner back to being one lap down again, but he's banking on a quick caution so he could get on the inside line on the restart and then try and beat him out and then hope another caution comes out to get back on the lead lap. But again, as I say that, he goes back to being 2 laps down.
Gardner appears to have a pretty good car now, but unfortunately, it's like all the trouble he's had early on.
Sadly,
kept him
yes.
from contending here.
As now Brad Cheston... It's interesting with this guy, Brad Cheston, who I had not heard of until the race we ran at Daytona last month. He somehow came away with the win at Daytona on pit strategy. Now he's looking to try and be the first driver in the history of IRSA, which is only the second race for the league, to win the first 2 races of that league in a row. Already trying to make history.
You said you never heard of it. Might have an better way to make a name for yourself than going out and winning the first 2 races. I mean, I already got the first one. Pulled out to a bit of a half-second lead over now second place Carson Gum. And there's the 9 back in the picture here. What Dodgers racing for second.
Yeah, Benjamin Miles and Carson Gummis. Now they've caught James Qualls again. Wow, nearly contact between Miles and Cheston. But Miles now got the run on the inside, and Rob Evans is now coming back up here to the front to try and make a run for the lead again. Yeah, not quite as spread out as I would have assumed the pack would be, but it's not like we see like packs where they're like 5 seconds ahead of one another. It's just more like maybe a second or a second and a half separating a lot of cars, but still relatively close. It's just a matter of hitting your marks and making the right passes and running the right line to really make things work. Benjamin Miles still holds on to the race lead for now.
We're about halfway through this thing, too.
Yeah, we're getting close to the halfway point. I want to assume the next time by will be halfway. So lap 59 is the halfway point of the race because it's 118, and you divide that by 2, yeah, it's 59. So now we are getting onto the halfway point now. And yeah, this green flag run.
Yeah, that I didn't have to, thankfully, but...
Nonetheless, Benjamin Miles still holding off Brad Cheston. But now that we're in this long green flag run and the field's somewhat spread out, let's actually try and do a full field rundown to see where all the lead lap cars are currently running. So currently, Benjamin Miles, the race leader. Second, Brad Cheston. Third, Braden Carruthers. Fourth, Rob Evans. Fifth, Carson Gum. Sixth, Matt Haas. Seventh, Phil Parker. Eighth, Dylan Young. Ninth, Zachary Fitzwater. 10th, Ashland Boyd. 11th, Seth Cole. 12th, Dylan Jacobs. 13th, Chris Chagoy. 14th, Keith Miller. 15th, Caleb Kilburn. Oh, Johnny Gardner in the pit road again. Man, man, that 11 car can't catch a break. But nonetheless, 16th, DJ Curtis. 17th, Keyshawn Richardson. 18th, Carter Friesen.
Early on in the race, so I think he's kind of off sequence with everybody. That might just be a regular pit stop for him. I don't think he might not have any problems.
It might be. So where was I? Oh yeah, 18th Carter Friesen, 19th Andrew Miller, and then 20th is Kev Shearer. 21st is Jesse Turner. 22nd William Brock. 23rd Jack Hollick. 24th is Zach Rogers. 25th is Dylan Farrell. 26th is Zach Winkle. And then the last car on the lead lap is Vince Lewis. Back up at the front, it is still Benjamin Miles up here in the lead.
It's kind of funny here. We have mostly 2005 cars here, and we got a Casey Kane car leading it, the Greg Biffle car in second. Those two had a great battle in the Busch Series race at Kansas in 2005, a photo finish. It's kind of ironic that they're running 1-2 right now.
Top four is still relatively close. It's back from second on back. It's a little bit spread out. But now we see a big pack of cars from fifth on back, as they are 3 seconds behind the leader. And I think the reason why they got kind of held up was because of Johnny Gardner coming in the pit road.
One of the cars in that second pack was the 41 at Dylan Jacobs. We saw him racing for the lead before the pit stop, so he's trying to get back up there. He appears to have a pretty good car.
And now the 9's about to encounter lap traffic of cars that are not slow, but just in the back, Vince Lewis and Zach Winkle. So that's definitely going to hurt Johnny Gardner even further in terms of trying to get back on the lead lap. Contact! Oh my goodness! Uh-oh. And he saved it!
Oh, how did Benjamin Miles hang on to that car? That was amazing.
That was an amazing save, and he still has the lead for now. Holy cow, I thought we were going to get another wreck.
Boy, lap traffic coming into play here. Lap traffic wrecking the leader. That had been really terrible to see, but a hell of a job by Benjamin Miles to hang on.
My goodness, I thought we were going to get a wreck, but somehow we stay clean and green, as now they're about to approach Jackson Sammy again, and Miles is going to go by.
And he kept the lead. He kept the lead through that. The 16 couldn't take advantage of it. That's even more amazing.
Yeah. Then again, the 9 did have a big gap between himself and Brad Cheston, so that definitely helped a little bit, but Cheston's still at least approaching the back bumper, and he might get a little more help in the form of James Qualls, as we'll see what Qualls is doing. He's going to go back to the bottom. And yeah, he held up Miles for a moment. That did help for Cheston to get a bit of an edge, but now Cheston actually lost ground because of the 25 just a bit. And they're still a long ways away from catching any more cars. And the next car they would end up catching is Dylan Farrell, but they're still a little bit of a ways away. But Benjamin Miles, you could argue, has been perhaps the most dominant car all race long so far. If I were to make a guess, I'd say he's probably led the most laps so far today.
I would think so. Definitely there, but it's definitely been the car to beat here in this, I want to say the second part of the race, but ever since the green flag pit stop.
Yeah. Not to mention, we actually are getting close to the next round of green flag pit stops. I would guess in about 6-7 laps, we're going to see them back in the pit road for their second round. And then after that, they'd have to make one more stop, and then they're good to go for the rest of the race. Because from the time that caution came out to when they restarted on lap 18, and then they pitted in between laps 45 and 47. So yeah, that's about a good 29 to 31 laps that they have in their fuel tanks. So yeah, we're getting close to the next round of pit stops. So we could see some different strategies. Perhaps some guys go 2 tires or gas only. Who knows what will happen. But yeah, the top
lead is steady.
Yeah, the lead is steady. It's not a massive lead, but it's just that clean air. Once you get up at the front, you get a little more clean air, but at least compared to like other tracks, he isn't pulling away. He's still got the 16 lurking back there. And then even the 16... Oh! Green flag pit stops beginning now as the 30 of Braden Caruthers comes into the pits. Same with Keith Miller. And there's Phil Parker coming in behind. And already some other cars have already entered pit road. So the 30 led the second group. Let's see if the 9 comes in this time or not. Well, he's slowing down quite a bit. He is going to come in, but Brad Cheston going to stay out an extra lap. As we're nearing the 3/4 mark of this race, Brad Cheston now has the race lead for now, but he's got to come into pit road, and he is starting to slow down to get in, and he's coming in. But let's watch and see how he does on pit road. If he's going to go gas only, is he going to go 2 tires, or is he going to go all 4s? Let's see. As his teammate Caleb Kilburn came in right behind him. Looks like a 4-tire stop for the 16. Now the question is, does he get to keep the lead, or is he going to get passed by Miles or more cars?
Had to step away there for a minute. Sorry about that, but
there's Benjamin Miles. Let's see if he can get out ahead of Brad Cheston in time. And it looks like he will, so Benjamin Miles back to the front. Brad Cheston looks like he might settle in second unless Braden Caruthers gets by him, who's going about 8 miles per hour faster. And he's going to get a run on the bottom, and looks like he's going to make a pass going into turn 1. So Brad Cheston actually ended up losing a spot as a result of all that. And now Dylan Farrell's now gone a lap down, as his teammate Benjamin Miles just went by him. Now the last car on the lead lap now is Zach Rogers in the 77. But he's a good ways away from the 9 cars, so he won't have anything to worry about for the time being. But Benjamin Miles now, his lead has grown to over a 2nd and a 3rd over 2nd place Braden Caruthers.
But good job by his pit crew getting him back out into the lead, an even bigger lead now.
But let's see if perhaps with new tires, if the 30 and the 16 can make a run on the 9 or not. Let's see the distance this time. It's actually shrunk now. It's to 1.1 seconds between the top 2.
If the 16 and the 30 can just kind of travel together, they might be able to run down the 9 car, but them trading second spot like that ain't going to help them any.
Well, they also got another benefit, the 91 of Dylan Farrell, who's within reach of the 9 car, even though he's a lap down. He could be he could benefit the 16 and the 30 if he chose to. And even with the passing going on there, they still managed to catch up to the 9 right there. Although Cole Deaver, does he come up in front? No, he doesn't. He's going to let them go. Qual's back into pit road to maybe try and repair any extra damage, even though he's still got mechanical issues. This time by, the lead shrunk even more now to less than 7/10.
Yeah, you could see the 91 car even closing in on Miles. So, yeah, you said he could definitely be a factor in this battle, and looks like he definitely is right now.
And even the 30 car of Braden Caruthers is actually starting to lose ground a little bit, which is interesting. Cole Deaver holding up some cars back here in the top 10 or so. Another 10th gained on that lap for the 16, but now he needs to figure out a way around the 91. But yes, Brad Cheston still on the hunt to go for his second career win in IRSA competition and only the second ever race in the league's existence. Won the Daytona 500 last month, trying to go 2 in a row on this channel in this league by winning here at Kansas, and he is there. He is closing in hot on the 9.
That is impressive right there. He was about a second and a half behind and just ran down the 9 all by himself, it looked. They've had a little bit of help from the 91, but man, that 16 is fast.
After all, Roush Yates engines are always strong on mile-and-a-half tracks, or at least they were back in the day. And
especially
now Cheston...
That car in particular in 2005, I think Biffle won the most races that year, and a bunch of them only 1.5 to 2 miles.
Yeah, he won 6 times. So now Brad Cheston gets the lead and is now starting to pull away a little bit from Miles, but now let's see if Miles can handle himself in dirty air and try and run him back down. But here in a few laps, we're going to take our final commercial break for this race. But Miles, yeah, he's still got a good car as he closed in right to the back bumper of the 16 and now to the bottom and is going to take the lead back. As we see a phenomenal battle for the lead and potentially the win here between probably the 2 strongest cars all race long, Benjamin Miles and Brad Cheston. But they are about to encounter the 0 again. I don't know if that will affect much. Oh, the 9's getting held up. Just a little bit. Cheston trying to go to the outside, but now he's going to get held up.
Oh, that's a bad move by the 16.
Luckily, he gets back.
The 91 could get underneath his teammate and really make things interesting.
Yeah, and he's trying to get back on the lead lap because, he is the first car a lap down. He's trying to get back on the lead lap and hoping for a quick caution to get back to the tail end of the field to contend for more spots. But Brad Cheston going to go by him to get a big run on the 9 again.
Yeah, I thought him running behind the 0 like that, I thought that was really going to hurt him, but it sure didn't. He's right back to the back bumper for Benjamin Miles.
And don't discount the 30 car of Braden Cheston Braden Caruthers just yet. He's still within reach, 1.3 seconds back. He just needs to hit his marks and hope these two get racy, and they are, as now Cheston back to the bottom to take the lead back from the 9. But we're about to take our final commercial break for the next 2.5 minutes. Don't worry, stick around. Action will still be on the bottom of the screen. We'll be right back to the IRSA Kansas race, the Hollywood Casino 400. Okay, let's see what we got to drink. Ah, fucking perfect. Ah, some good old Powerade. Delicious. No, not really. Powerade, the most overrated drink ever made. Go to your local store and see for yourself.
Look out! It's the sun! Your soft version eyes are no match for its ultraviolet radiation. Sunglasses are going out of style, and regular glasses will only make you look like a total faggot. What you need is Shit-Tech's all-new IRSA eye gear. Created with functionality in mind, the IRSA eye gear will protect your eyes from all the elements, including sunlight, shame, and the forces of nature. Take a look at how this smarmy cunt gets blasted with water in his eyes without any protection. Now let's try that with IRSA eye gear. Wow, it really works! IRSA eye gear will make you the talk of the town, and the chicks will flock to you. Even your pets will love IRSA eye gear. IRSA eye gear is proven to protect the eyes from all forms of sunlight with zero permanent damage caused, guaranteed. And the best part is, we're ready to share this revolutionary new product with you for just 7 payments of $19.95. So go ahead and stare directly into the sun for the next 36 hours. You know IRSA eyewear is good for it. To order IRSA eyewear from ShitTech, dial 1-800-USELESS or log on to www.shittyshittech.com. ShitTech products are banned in the states of Vermont, Maryland, Missouri, and Oregon. All other states are currently pressing legislation to ban ShitTech products within their borders too, so be sure to call quick in order to secure your product. That's 1-800-USELESS. ShitTech products have just been outlawed in the state of Wisconsin. We didn't want their shitty cheese-covered money anyway. Don't delay. Call 1-800-USELESS. 1-800-USELESS. Ever since starting to use IRSA eye gear, I haven't been able to look at anything the same way again. Granted, I haven't been able to see anything at all since then, but...
A special mix of piss and vomit comes together with vanilla caramel coffee creamer, a select form of steak sauce, A1 style, all come together with pure 100% Asian sesame oil. The Crapster Piece. Order it now. Available at JJ's Cafe. That is the worst fucking thing I've ever drank. Welcome back to the Hollywood Casino 400 here at Kansas Speedway for the International Racing Series Association, or IRSA. As we are closing into the end of this race, as we got about 23 laps to go in this race, so we're getting close to the end, and we may end up having a 3-car battle for the win depending on the final set of pit stops, which are going to be coming here in about perhaps 5-6 laps from now. It's going to be the final pit stops to determine it all. And right now, it's been a battle mostly between Benjamin Miles and Brad Cheston, but Braden Carruthers has slowly been working his way back up into the battle, but it's just been a matter of trying to hit his marks properly.
Yeah, with the leaders, the 9 and the 16, they've had their hands full with some lap cars over the last few laps, and that's allowed the 30 to close in. So if they keep catching lap traffic, the 30 is going to be right there, and it's going to be an interesting battle for the.
Although it'll be a little while before they catch lap cars, and I'd say even by then, they're probably going to be coming into pit road. And also keep in mind, with how all these pit cycles go, the 30 car, at least as far as front runners, the 30 car is always the one that goes into the pits first. So I don't know if maybe in this final stop it'll be a benefit to them or a detriment, but we'll see whenever they do come into pit road. But real quick, full field rundown before that happens. Benjamin Miles still leads the way. Second is Brad Cheston. Third is Braden Carruthers. Fourth is now Phil Parker. Fifth, Rob Evans. Sixth is Dylan Young. Seventh, Keith Miller. Eighth, Seth Cole. Ninth, Caleb Kilburn. 10th, Zachary Fitzwater. 11th is Christopher Chagoy. 12th, Matt Haas. 13th, Carson Gum. 14th, William Brock. 15th, DJ Curtis. 16th, Ashland Boyd. 17th, Keyshawn Richardson. 18th, Dylan Jacobs. 19th, Jesse Turner. 20th, Jack Hollick. Excuse me. Battle for 21st between Zach Rogers, Kev Shearer. 23rd is Andrew Miller. 24th, Carter Friesen. And then 25th actually would be the first lap down car in Dylan Farrell. But already some cars entering pit road for their final pit stops. Let's get back up to the front here and see what's going on. The top two still up here battling.
What is that on pit road? I thought it was a 00. We got the 19. Bunch of cars coming down pit road already.
And even look at Johnny Gardner. Even though he's multiple laps down, he's still got a fast race car. And now Braden Carruthers comes into pit road. So the next time by, we'll see the 9 and the 16 come in together.
Just like you said, they're the 30 car, the first of the leaders to, or at least in this lead group, to hit pit road.
Now the 9 already slowing down, but the 16 going to stay out another lap. The one thing the 9 of Benjamin Miles does not want to see right now is a caution. Otherwise, that will really shake things up in a bad way for him. As we get back up to the 16, there he is, still holding on to the lead for the time being. As we're getting closer and closer to the end of this race, less than 15 to go, in fact. But now the 16 enters pit road.
91 coming being lapped down, of course, but that's a car that can be a factor in this thing. 91 is fast, just not on the late lap, unfortunately. But it's been right up there with the leader, so he could definitely be a.
Yeah, and Brad Cheston actually went with 2 tires that pit stop, maybe to try and get a little bit of distance between himself and Benjamin Miles, although maybe Benjamin Miles also took 2 tires and we just don't know. Let's see where the 9 is on track. Oh, he's way back there, so I think, yeah, he took 4. So Cheston took 2, so that's going to really help the 16 have a big gap. Although I may have spoken too soon, as there's Miles again.
I think Miles may have taken 2 as well.
Yeah, maybe. I just saw it because he was so far back and the 16 that was coming out of the pits. But don't discount the 16. He might be able to reel him back in. Let's see. Only 1 second.
Do that a number of times.
Only 1 second separates the top 2 on the racetrack, but Braden Carruthers' chance is pretty much done unless a caution comes out. But we've been on this very long green flag run ever since lap 18. But nonetheless, we've seen some great racing up here at the front. Even after pit stops, we've seen some good stuff between the top 2, as they've put on a hell of a show for the fans and for us up here at the booth. But now, as far as who's in the top 10, as we're getting close to 10 to go, Benjamin Miles leads, Brad Cheston second. Third is now Zachary Fitzwater. Fourth, Dylan Young. Fifth, Christopher Chagoy. Sixth is now Caleb Kilburn. Seventh, Braden Carruthers. Eighth, Ashland Boyd. Ninth, Rob Evans. 10th, Phil Parker. So now the field is definitely even more spread out after the final round of pit stops.
Yeah, you were wondering, with the 30 car, he was in third position before the pit stops. Him pitting before the 9 and the 16, if that would hurt him or help him. It appears to have really hurt him because he's fallen back to 7th, as you just saw. So I don't know what happened on that pit stop, but we thought he might have a shot at winning this thing. Well, that appears to have gone away.
As we are now less than 10 laps to go, Brad Cheston actually gained 2/10 that last lap. So if he can keep gaining 2 or even 3/10 a lap, he'll be right up there to the back bumper of the 9. Let's see, this time more than 2/10. So now less than 6/10 of a second between Miles and Cheston for the top spot. And it looks like he's going to gain even more. Perhaps even maybe cutting the lead in half this time. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah. Here at the line, it is...
That 16 car is close enough to catch a draft off that 9 car now.
Yeah, now to less than, or a little over a third of a second that time. As we're getting closer and closer to the end of this event, and the top 2 cars, the best cars all day long, Benjamin Miles and Brad Cheston maybe are going to settle it out for the win. 2/10 separate the top 2 now. Although there's another car catching them, even though it's maybe too late. Zachary Fitzwater is now less than 3 seconds back. He gained about a half a second that last lap, but I feel like it's too late. But a good effort nonetheless. Now that Cheston's right there to the back bumper, he's going to have to pull a move, or maybe lap traffic will be in play as Zach Winkle, 26th position, but he's not a slow car. He's just fallen so far back. And even before they get to him, here comes Cheston with a run to the inside. Cheston now takes the lead back as we're now 5 to go here at Kansas. Less than 5 to go, and the top two continue to fight it out. Cheston actually is starting to pull away a little bit from the 9, but the 9, he'll catch you within no time, but let's see how he gets around the 42. He's going to get around just fine running the bottom. 4 to go here at Kansas.
You know, we've seen this before. We've seen the 16 run down the 9 and get by him, but we've seen, you know, Benjamin Miles be able to get too, so might be setting up for that.
Next big battle we got going on right here for the, looks like it was the 7th position. Rob Evans goes by Matt Haas with ease right there for that position on track. And Miles now to the back bumper. 3 laps to go here at Kansas. Miles running a lower line. He's going to get there and go back by the 16.
I think the 16 may have gotten a little bit loose, too, and Miles took advantage of it.
Yeah, Cheston, he got a little bit loose off of corner exit and turn 2. And is losing a bit of time, but he's still got plenty of time to run him back down. 2 to go here at Kansas. Could we potentially see a photo finish between these two because of just how strong these two have been all race long?
It wouldn't surprise me the least bit.
But right now, Cheston trying to just hang on to the back bumper for now. Now he's going to run lower. And now to the bottom. White flag is out. Half a car length between Miles and Cheston. Cheston going to have the advantage in turn 1. Gets the lead back, but can Miles run him back down in turn 3? I don't know. He's losing ground big time. Cheston has that air up at the front. Doesn't look like anything's going to change. Coming out of turn 4 for the final time. Checkered flag waving as history has been made. Brad Cheston goes 2 in a row in IRSA. He wins the Hollywood Casino 400 at Kansas.
That is unbelievable. As competitive as these fields are for one driver to win the first 2 races of this series. That is impressive.
Holy cow. History has just been made. Last month, we ran the first ever race for IRSA, the Daytona 500, and what is a monthly series for now. And it's not even just a series, it's just for the name of the group, IRSA, so there's no, Cup Series or whatever. It's just for fun until Marvel Studios Cup Series comes back for the NNSCRA. But already in the first 2 races in the existence of IRSA, one driver wins both of them. Brad Cheston won the Daytona 500 last month and comes back here at Kansas, gets his 2nd straight win here at Kansas. Holy cow, that is impressive. Absolutely impressive for that driver. So congratulations to Brad Cheston for getting his 2nd career win in IRSA competition. But let's take a look at the rest of the results. Benjamin Miles, who was probably the most dominant car of the race, came through in a 2nd place finish in what was a phenomenal battle for about a good 70 straight laps with the 16, but comes through in 2nd.
And another thing on the 9 car, that car should have been wrecked. Remember about
yes.
Right around the halfway point? Him and I believe it was the 10 car that got together. He did an incredible job of hanging on to that car, kept the lead, and stayed in a position to win the race the entire time. So a great job by Benjamin Miles, but he came up just short in the finish.
Yeah. But anyways, let's go through the rest of the results. Zachary Fitzwater gets a great finish in the 3rd position. Caleb Kilburn, it appears as his pit strategy with pitting on the same lap as the eventual winner and teammate for this race, Brad Cheston, worked out and he got a top 5 and 4th. And then Chris Chagoy in the 5th position, finishing strong. Rob Evans with a solid performance in the 6th spot. Matt Haas finishing in 7th. Braden Caruthers finishing in 8th, Phil Parker finishing strong in 9th, then rounding out the top 10 is Dylan Young. Then there's your top 20, and then the final 4 cars on the lead lap, and then everyone else until we get to the wrecked cars all finished a lap or more down. In fact, Qualls and Deaver both finished 8 laps down the entire race. Nonetheless, then the rest of the cars were all wrecked in that first caution, the only caution we had.
Caution, yeah.
Yeah, first and only caution. Those drivers were John Andrews, Paul Jackson, Elijah Gordon, Jackson Traeger, Jordan Forbes, Cole Baker, Arthur Xavier, Jay Jefferson, and Rafael Leduc. Well, that was Kansas done. We'll be back for another IRSA race in November. Perhaps around Thanksgiving time will be when that race comes out. As far as where we're going to be heading to then, we're thinking about maybe doing Bristol for the next race, for perhaps the Sharpie 500, perhaps. We'll see, depending on other mods that will work out for that track. So, but nonetheless, that is Kansas done, the second ever race for a brand new league group, and it was a great one. It was definitely a fun one to watch, especially that battle for the win between Cheston and Miles. But thank you guys for watching, and thank you, Kyle Matthews, for stopping by the booth today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Like you said, great race to watch, fun one to call. Would love to do another one of these here.
Yep. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and until next time, this is Levi McIntyre, signing off.